Welcome to the Knotenkopp podcast. My name is Johanna, and I'm the knitter behind this podcast. Which you probably know because I guess most of you, it's not the first time. But if you're new to the channel, I live in the north of Germany, at the Baltic Sea, and I talk about all of my knitting as most knitting podcasters do. And it's been some time. My last podcast episode was still in summer, if you can believe it. And I talked about my autumnal plans, and I had a lot of them already cast on, so it was like kind of half of a podcast episode. And I decided we are going to not talk about all my FOs from summer, because last time I had like silk camisoles on my needles and shorts and stuff like that. And for myself, I know I am not interested in it at the moment, and I would rather maybe do a recap of all the summer things next year and get more into like all the woolly cabled knitwear, which is more season appropriate and I guess everyone wants to hear about, rather than shorts. But yeah, so today I'm going to talk about finished objects, my whips. I made a lot of progress with my autumn plans, and I guess knitting plans is a bit repetitive because I basically talked about my knitting plans in my autumnal knitting plan video. So just mention shortly what I will cast on next, and if I still have time, I will maybe talk about our first organized knit night, and I also have some podcast recommendations, which I've been obsessed with lately, so stay tuned if you're interested in that. And let's start with finished objects, and I'm wearing already two of them. So I will try to keep it short. This is the cardigan number 2, I guess, or it's the second pattern of the, is it the second pattern? It's a pattern in the Lana Grossa magazine Nordic Knits 1, because there's already came out a second version of that magazine, and it's because it's a German magazine. It's called Cardigan mit Würfelmuster, and the Würfelmuster is this like kind of checkered grid muster pattern that you can see on here. And this has been my longest standing whip forever. I think I cast this on, I'm not even sure if I cast this on last spring or even the spring 2024 or even before that. But it's been on my needles over a year, and I've never had something linger that long. It's also a massive knit, like I will get up in a second, but I also took pictures yesterday, so I can insert them where you can see more of the details. It's an all over textured cardigan, which I heavily modified. I would say I followed like 20% of the instructions, and the instructions are shit. Like I can't really recommend the pattern for anyone. Like if you are really interested in knitting this and get your hands on the magazine and need some help or have questions, let me know. It took me a while to figure everything out. But I'm happy to help. But I think there are a lot of like alternatives out there which look very similar and are probably a lot more enjoyable than this pattern, just knitting wise. It was, and just the reading experience of the understanding the instructions was just a pain, which was also the reason why it took me that long. Additionally to that, I decided to steek this cardigan, which was really unnecessary because knitting this pattern in the round was more complicated than knitting it flat. I also modified the button band. You knit the button band while knitting it like knitting it at the same time with the body of the cardigan. And I also changed up the neckline. So the button band is double knit, and I used the instructions from Florence Miller, which kind of okay worked. I think her buttonholes were really, really great, but I think the pick-up rate she used didn't work at all for my cardigan. And if this would be a yarn that would be easily to frog, I probably would reknit the button band. So yeah, I don't even know how to describe this texture. You kind of achieve it with like yarn overs and knitting the row into the stitch below, but also I think you're also doing something else. I will get closer so you can see it, but so, and yeah, the bottom band is also not double knit, but like folded over, but in stockinette. And as you can see, the double knit button band at the top. If I get up and move my chair, you can maybe, I need to go back a lot, see what's the issue a little bit with this cardigan. So it is very wide. I think it has like nearly 40 centimeters of positive ease, but that's what I wanted. It has very wide sleeves, so they are not decreased, so very balloony kind of sleeves, but I like them. And the problem is that the pickup rate was like, I picked up every stitch because when you knit the recommended button band, you also knit in every stitch the button band, like when you knit it at the same time as the body. So I thought the pickup rate of every stitch for every row would be fine, and you don't go down for the needle size for the recommended button band anyway. So, and I did go down a lot in needle size for this button band. I think I maybe went down, I think this was knit on 4.5 and this maybe on 3.5 or 3. So I thought I would be fine, but it was, and it's still way too long. Like you can, wait, can I see that it kind of droops down here? And I already went back and took out some of that, like it was even longer, took it out, and you can't block it even longer. So oftentimes I just wear it like this. I just pull it up and tuck it in, which looks a little bit weird at the moment. So like this kind of, which is fine. I don't mind it, but it would have been nice that this wouldn't droop down here so much. And I really am not willing to take this out, because just taking out this little bit down here was already really, really hard, because this is very, very woolly wool, which kind of fells, not fells easily, but like just clings a lot to each other because it's so hairy, I guess. Like it has a lot of like long fibers sticking out, and I think I'm fine with it. Like I definitely found my piece with the button band, and I don't see myself taking this out. I also don't know if I still have enough yarn to like maybe cut the button band and redo it. I'm not sure. I really like the dark brown wooden buttons on this. The top one is a different one, but it looks very, very similar. I didn't have enough, so I have, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and I only had 5 of the same buttons that I actually bought for this. So yeah, I would say 90% happy with this cardigan. I will never ever knit this again. It also has a very different vibe from the original sample in the magazine, because the original was knit in Ecopuno by Lana Grossa, which is a kind of blown fiber with like, I think, a cotton chain and like alpaca blown into it, which is a lovely yarn, but I've knitted instead with a worsted or iron weight, like Südtirol, no, Bergschafwolle, so mountain sheep, like European mountain sheeps. And so it's a very rustic, warm yarn, which is really great for this season. And I actually took this jacket with me during my holiday, which you could check out my travel vlog if you like traveling vlogs, which are themed around knitting. And it worked fine, but I have to say, like, even though if I touch it, it's obviously very, very rustic, but I don't find it scratchy when I touch it, but it's very scratchy to wear. Like, I'm wearing a very thin turtleneck underneath, and I can definitely feel the fibers through the long sleeve turtleneck. And for example, I have like some sleepwear, which is very thin material, and this is often too scratchy to wear over it, even though that's like really what I prefer to, like, I imagine this cardigan, or it's more jacket for me, to like have it to throw over if you just go outside or run errands or in the morning when you're a little bit cold, and it's perfect for that. But I definitely need to be aware what I wear underneath it, because I mean, it really depends. Like, on some days I even wore it just with a tank top and it was fine. But right now, for example, I really feel like scratching my back. But it's like, it's okay. It's fine. Like, if it's also designed because it's so wide and jackety that I can wear it on top of sweaters. So that was kind of the purpose I had in mind, and not like more so an indoor cardigan. So yeah, I guess, is there anything else to say? I think if you are looking for something similar with like that checkered or grid like texture, which isn't like cables or anything, there's the Crosshound sweater and cardigan, though the cardigan I think is a v-neck, but you could just use the sweater instructions and modify it to be a round neck cardigan. There's also I forgot the name. Is it like something with net? But I forgot it. I think Marielle just test knit that cardigan, and it's a beautiful cardigan, and it is different because I think it has more like a brick-like texture, but it definitely gives that grid-like rectangular vibe. So that would be a beautiful alternative. I will hopefully have inserted pictures. I might have found some other like very similar cardigans that you could just easily take and replace this with. Yeah, I think that's all there's to say. I've already been wearing it now for nearly 3 months, so yeah, like I said, I know it's itchy at some times, but generally I like it a lot. So that was that. I also finally finished these pairs of socks. I haven't put them on, I mean, I blocked them obviously on sock blockers, but I took them off. So yeah, they are sisters, no twins, but like that was never the aim. Though I have to say that, oh no, the toe is very different, but like this part is quite similar. So I have no idea what the yarn is called anymore, because I think I started this also in spring. Yeah, but like I think I wanted them for spring because the colors are more springy than autumnal, but I mean, now it's the season for me to actually wear woolen socks, and in the last few days the temperature has dropped to -degrees, so these will come in very handy. And they are just basic 3x1 ribbed socks, so very uninspiring vanilla socks kind of. German short row heel. Yeah, nothing interesting, but I'm glad they are done and now I can wear them since I showed it to you. I also finished a lot of things for my nephew, though he had his first birthday, and I think all the things I showed you over summer I gifted to him now, including the little donkey, who has now a pair of like dark orange dungarees. I don't know if I had them already finished in my last episode. I don't think so. For spring or Christmas, I don't know when he will get this. I finished also his Friday sweater baby version or kids version. I don't know. It's the 2 to 3 year old size. And yeah, it's definitely still too big. Like, he is now 1 year old, but he already fits the 1 to 2 year old sweaters I made for him in the last year. But this is like, if you come, like, I held it to the sweaters I already made, like the Holger sweater and the raglan sweater with the sock wool. And though this has a similar width, it has a lot longer sleeves. So, I mean, there are different like fits also in baby sizes. I think the other 2 sweaters I gifted him have more of that oversized boxy fit, and this, I think, at least on PetiteKnit children, it's a lot more fitted and not that oversized. So yeah, maybe he's already able to wear it in spring, I don't know. And you can easily roll up the sleeves, like my sister already does it now with his other sweaters. So yeah, and it's like in this lovely bright blue with like red stripes. And but I have to say, like, even though I really enjoyed knitting the broken rib texture, I was also very pleased when it was done. So I don't see myself ever knitting something of that Friday collection for myself. I don't think I have the patience for that, but for him it's a very cute little sweater. Though I think the kids version doesn't have any short rows, so it's completely reversible, which also makes it a little bit hard because you don't know what's the front and the back. But at the same time, does it though really matter? Like, I mean, since it looks the same. Yeah, but so this is done. Okay, yeah, I also recently finished for him this cutie. It's again an animal from the Edward's Menagerie book by Toft UK, and I forgot the designer's name. And yeah, it's a little bit crooked. I don't know how it comes off in the picture, but I mean, it's a handmade stuffy toy, so I don't know. I think it should be crooked, kind of. And yeah, it's a cheap, and I used some of the boucle yarn for the body. In the pattern, you knit this, you crochet these kind of loops to create the fur of the fleece of the sheep. But I have still so much boucle yarn left over from my Lonely Leftovers vest that I decided to use it for that. And all of his other body parts are just woolly cream colored yarn. And though I think like he could use some hair, I guess, like fleece on top of his head, like in this section, it could look cool because he looks a little bit sparse and naked. I think also he could use some clothing. I'm really, I would love to make him a tutu. A tutu, yeah, is it the right word? Tutu. I don't know, somehow I think it would work with the cream colored sheep. I don't know why. It's not specifically a feminine sheep or anything for me, and I don't know why I'm thinking of a tutu, but I would love to make him like a skirt, kind of, like maybe sew it even, and maybe he also needs a bonnet or something. Like, he just looks a little bit plain and naked, I think. I think in retrospect I probably would have made the feet and arms or legs and arms in a different color, so it wouldn't be so plain of a sheep. And the boucle was a bit challenging, I have to say. This is actually the inside of the crochet because it looked more sheepy, I guess. I think I held the boucle with a different yarn, and it took me a while to figure out which was the right hook size, because so that you didn't end up going with the hook into the boucle loops, but only go through your stitches, I guess. So yeah, that's the sheep, no, with the sheep. So I finished this one. I also finished this head. I will take it off for a second. My hair kind of looks funny at the moment. It's a bit itchy. And I'm really hoping to get it like cut again to this length in 2 weeks. I used again the watch cap head pattern by PurlSoho, and which I use for my Noro Madara head, and you just basically knit a very long tube and then do like, I think about 26 rows of decreases. And I really try to put in better instructions of my modifications into my Ravelry, because my last Ravelry notes I couldn't even understand, and also try to find out how much yarn I needed, because last time I didn't had a whole 100 grams skein of yarn, so I wasn't really sure. This time I needed 91 grams, and I think just the decreases needed 11 grams, and this is like 100 grams 200 meters. Is that right? Yes, they were like 250 gram balls of yarn. And yeah, you can double fold it, like, is it like this kind of the right length, I guess, like this, and have it more pointy. Or what I'm currently doing is that I'm like triple folding it, because I often have like my overhead earphones on, my Marshall earphones, and if you have like too much overhead, it really looks funny. So I would like really to wear my heads more close fitting, and so the earphones don't push the head down. And yeah, I mean, this is Ferner Wolle, so an Austrian brand, which I got on my trip in autumn, and it's 100% alpaca in this beautiful berry color. And I also really like it with this green color I recently wear a lot. And I also ordered 2 days ago glasses in this color, because these are very banged up. Like at some point, like some days I can't even see much through them because the glasses are so scratched, and they even lost some of their coating and stuff, so really are in need of new glasses. And I decided to get like olive green glasses, and hope they still arrive before Christmas. So yeah, I think there's not much more to say. I think I've knitted 30 centimeters unstretched ribbing before starting the decreases, and that gives you the flexibility to to fold a triple or double, depending what you prefer. And I cast on the toddler size this time. Last time I also modified the stitches, but I knit 120 stitches on 3.5 millimeter needle. On the topic of accessories, I also finished during my trip I think it's the Jackie bandana, Jackie bandana by Paulastrickt, which I knitted off gauge, but I blocked it or knitted it basically to the measurements that was recommended in the pattern. And I wasn't sure about the function of this, and I'm still not really sure, because I don't know if maybe because of my gauge and yarn choice it's a lot thicker, and so it like drapes differently, but it's a bit of an odd one. And if you look at her pictures, it looks kind of odd in hers as well, because I think she wears it in one of her pictures like this, but you can kind of see the dilemma. It's not really long enough to tie a knot in the front, or you can just like, I can tie a knot like back here once, but therefore the ties are also a bit too long. Then you could just do a normal triangular shaft. but to just wrap it around twice, it's like a little bit too short. And I don't think it's because of my measurements, because in her sample pictures she also just has these ends hanging, and for knitting kind of like ribbed band to tie it, and then having that triangular part in the center, it's, I don't know, it seems very unpragmatic, like not really functional. And I guess she kind of designed it also as a bandana, so I don't know if I can tie this knot right now. Okay, it kind of eats all of my hair. But yeah, so this way it actually works okay, but I don't think it's the most practical. I think I would rather wear like a normal like cotton bandana kind of thing to as opposed to like a knitted bandana out of wool. So I mean, I think the stitch picture is beautiful, and the finishing, like the edgings and everything, it just, yeah, it's very polished also here. But I think the measurements of the scarf or bandana, whatever you call it, aren't that practical for what I was thinking about it. So I'm considering ripping it out and using the yarn for something else. But deciding to have glasses in this color, I'm not sure if maybe having like accessories also in this color might be a bit too much. So because my plan B was also to make a head with this yarn, but maybe that's a little bit too much to have like a bright green head with also the same colored glasses. So I need to think about it. Maybe I wait until my glasses are here and check out how similar it looks. And maybe I will use the instructions for the edges of the bandana to make a bigger triangular scarf, because I think the edges look really, really neat and pretty, but I think this part is a bit, I don't know, in some ways it's practical, but it needs to be longer for that. And then I question myself, like, is it really necessary to have that triangular part? Or is it like maybe even more, is it maybe even better to make just a ribbed kind of Sophie scarf-esque long scarf without the triangle? I'm not sure. So it's like, I'm not sold on the pattern at the moment. Excuse me. Okay, what else did I... Oh, finish. I also finished my cloud dress. And I will show it to you on here and hold up closer. And this is the back side. And I will put in pictures of it because it's like a little bit too long and annoying to always hold up. If you haven't watched my autumnal knitting plans, this is knit with Laying Yarns Cloud in the color Chestnut and Petrol. I think it's number 12. And I ordered 4 skeins of that to kind of get a short dress that I can wear over long sleeves or also over jeans, but also with leggings or tights. And it was all a bit of a guessing game because I didn't really have instruction with that gauge. I used the Eve dress by LePull, but that's a glittery reverse stockinette dress, so it's very different. And it has this like boat neckline, I guess, which kind of looks odd because I put in an elastic, which you can very visibly see when it's on a hanger, because this grew a lot with blocking, and I also was a bit worried that it will grow a lot with wearing, and so that not all of the weight of the dress, even though it's very lightweight because of the yarn, is pulling on the neckline, I decided to put in an elastic, and I think while wearing you don't see the elastic. You can see that it pulls a little bit at the front, but that's because I pulled the elastic quite tight, and I could go back and change that if I wanted to. So I think in the back it's less scrunched together. And yeah, I think I slipped the edge stitches the same as in the Isabell top. And then I had to figure out a little bit how to increase in what increase rate. And I think in my autumnal plans I got until here, I guess, and decided that it was way too wide because I cast on a lot of stitches under the sleeves, and so it got like really massive really fast, and I didn't need that extra space under the sleeves. Like, it's not like I wanted this fit like loosely, like a loose A-frame, but I didn't want it like as a sack of potatoes or something fitting. And yeah, I went back, ripped out the increased stitches. I think I put down how many stitches I cast on under the sleeve instead, and then I changed her, like LePull has a increase rate in the pattern, and I changed that to every 10 rows, which is around like every 5 centimeters, I think. And yeah, then I increased, and I wanted to do like a double folded hem at the bottom, but I knitted that, folded it over, used the levitate wrap instructions for that because they do it in the sleeve hem, I guess, and blocked it, and it grew massively, like ridiculously a lot. And also the what is it, the double folded hem was way too heavy, and it gave it like that weird flare at the end. So I basically took out 15 centimeters of yarn again, which is quite a lot, and just did a row of 1x1 rib, and then 2 rows, I think, of stockinette, and cast loosely off. No, not loosely. I cast off with 2 needle sizes smaller. So I knit this dress on 6mm, but I think I cast off on 5 or 4.5. I have it on in my Ravelry notes. Because this yarn doesn't really have any structure. Like, yeah, it's and since I didn't want this to flare out again at the bottom, I thought I would rather have a little cinch and then with blocking stretch it again or something. Yeah, and I've been wearing it quite a lot. I have to say, it's very practical. It's exactly as I imagined. I had a crisis in between when I first blocked it and it was way too long, because it really made me... I think this is a difficult kind of dress in this colorway, because it's giving me... I mean, depending how you style it, it can look very like with like flared jeans, Gen Z-esque. But it also gives me kind of like 90s witchy grunge vibes. Like, I don't know, I can see someone in Charmed wearing this, to be honest. And it's also like, if you don't style it in a cool way, I mean, cool is relative, like everything, like cool looks different to everyone. But not give it like a more modern touch. It easily can give also... Is it like Harry Potter's teacher, like what is it, like Professor Trelawney, the one who lives in the tower? That is kind of the vibe that it can also give, which is not the style I'm going for. So it's yeah, it's a balancing act. But I think additionally the colorway makes it a little bit difficult. I can totally, like, when I finished that dress, I immediately had a vision of a yellow tweed dress with just the center cable going down. I was like, that would be amazing. And I think Aaron Tweed has the perfect tweed I'm thinking about, but yellow is actually not a color that suits me very well, so I think that would be a very impulsive and expensive thing to knit, and I should maybe do it in a different color. But let's go back to this dress. So yeah, I knitted on 6mm needles, and I only in the end needed 3 boards of that Lang Yarns Cloud, so I have a full skein, and this is all the thing I knit ripped out again, left over. I'm a little bit unsure what to do with the rest of it. I thought first to do a hat because it's obviously super soft yarn, but I think it's too much to knit a hat with, so I'm thinking about just doing a big triangular scarf that you can wrap around yourself and cozy up in, because like, as you can imagine, because it's Lang Yarns Cloud, this is a super cozy dress. Like, I love wearing this, especially over a cream turtleneck, and it's like basically like a long sleeved slipover or vest. And the nice thing is with this, I can open up my pants underneath because just, I would say 90% of my pants, even if they have no buttons or zippers or something, and elastic in it, they are just uncomfortably tight around my belly, and it's nice with a dress that you can just open up at work, and it's no one is going to see your fly open, is it how you say it? So yeah, that's what I really like. Additionally to that, it's not like a sweater, you have some circulation, ventilation without the sleeves, and yeah, I can wear it like comfy with leggings, but I can wear it also with jeans, and I'm really happy. I think if I would known that I only need 3 skeins, I probably would have made like a typical slip over kind of neckline and side edges, like with ribbed 1x1 ribbed neckline and arm openings, but I didn't know ahead that I would only need 3 skeins, so I chose the option which uses the least of yarn. So yeah, that's how I ended up with a knitted dress, and I definitely see myself just using that recipe again for summer with cotton, or like I said, I can totally imagine myself knitting a 3D dress with a cable just running at the center. Like I imagine it similar to the, what is it, like Busan collection? I forgot the designer, but she has a t-shirt definitely and a sweater, and it's a raglan construction, so I would never knit the pattern, but I really like the central simple cable that is running down the design, and that in a dress could look also really, really cool. Additionally to that, Sandnes Garn came out between my idea of last January when I bought that yarn with that vision, came out with a fluffy big needle dress pattern as well, which here again I think only can buy with the recommended yarn, which is I think the chunky ballerina yarn, and they have a v-neck version which has a very low v-neck, but because it's a woolly dress you will wear it over something anyways, and I think even though most of the time I'm not digging v-necks, I think in that construction with the dress it also looks really, really nice. So I could maybe imagine just using a v-neck top pattern that I have and modifying it to make it like a long sleeve, or no, a short sleeve, not short sleeve, a short dress, because I think the hardest part was to figure out how to get the A-frame, like how to have the right proportions, and now I have the measurements for the dress, so that's fine. I did the hardest part and now I can just like play around with it. So yeah, if you are into knitting yourself a short dress and need any help or instructions, let me know. I think I haven't put in the final measurements because I wanted to see if it like grows with wearing, but I think I put like all my modifications in there. Yeah, and I think that's all my finished objects. Okay, let's talk about whips, which is, I think I prefer whips to FOs. Do you have a preferred section of the podcast episode. Yeah, I think whips are more interesting than FOs. Maybe that's a hot take, but yeah, I mean, when I watch other podcasters, I do prefer the whips. Okay, so my next and biggest current whip is my Harriet sweater, and I will try to hold it up. I don't know, I can't see anything anymore. It's basically done. So I don't know, do I have a hanger? Oh, let me get a hanger. Okay, so I basically finished all the color work, finished both sleeves, finished the neckline, and I basically only need to knit the ribbing for the body, which is, I mean, it's 8 centimeters of ribbing, so it's not that little, but still, like, it's a big, beautiful bill. I just wanted to say, no, it's a big, beautiful colorwork sweater, and I'm in love with it. Like, how could you not? Okay, so it's the Harriet sweater by Leknit. I had quite a bit knit of it in my autumnal knitting plans already, but as you can see, I made a lot of progress. I will try to come closer so you can kind of see more of the color work. And yeah, for the sleeve, it's basically the same. Need to see if I need to color correct it. I think it makes it a little bit cooler, but so yeah, this is how it's looking, and I have about 15 centimeters knit of stockinette in the brown main color beyond the, what is it, the colorwork section. And she recommends to even out the top part to knit like 17 to 20 centimeters. So I probably will knit at least 2 centimeters and then try it on again, because at the moment it's definitely not long enough to wear with leggings, even with the 8 centimeters of ribbing incoming. And I wanted to knit the sweater to be able to wear it with like tights or leggings. So really oversized, and yeah, I'm not there yet, which surprises me because it's eaten a lot of yarn already, and I'm a little bit worried that I will knit it to the kind of perfect length, and then it will grow quite a lot with blocking. So I'm thinking about like knitting maybe around 3 centimeters and then wash it, block it, and measure it. So yeah, as you can see, it's a contiguous sleeve construction, which you can't really see, I have to say, but maybe if I can get closer, like you can see that here you have starting the raglan increases, so that you have to knit this part, or you knit this part also in the round. I think that was already the part you've seen in my last planning video, and then you knit on their color work in the round in these bands, which was a lot of fun. Like, I think the only part where I caught floats was in the center of these flowers, and I think you don't even have to if you wanted to. There were like 6 stitches where I had to carry a color. I'm back. I had to take a sneezing break. Yeah, I think, okay, I can show you the back. I think that looks even prettier. I mean, it all looks pretty. I really like my color combination. I still have to weave in millions of ends, though I carried my main contrast color, so the 2 strands I held together for the lighter green, and I only cut basically the darker green, the more sagey color, because they are like really long sections where you don't use that, but that means like at least 1, 2, 3, 4 times you have to weave in the ends and then that 3 times because 2 sleeves, 1 body. So that's quite a lot. But yeah, I'm really, really happy how it's looking. Enjoying the Finkhof merino yarn, enjoying my color work, and I would absolutely use that pattern again for putting in different color work motifs in this, even maybe reknitting this in like other color combinations. And what else? I had some gauge struggle, which I won't go that much into it, but I think I've managed to fix it. I found my sweet spot now. Oh, sorry, I threw down needles. Because I didn't cast on that many stitches, like just 1 stitch on each side under the sleeve. So the top of the sweater, the bottom of the sweater, and the sleeves are all 3 different sizes. Because since I didn't cast on that many stitches on the sleeves, I had to find a sleeve number that fitted with my new modified count numbers, which, I mean, if you are on gauge, this will be not an issue, but so yeah, but in the end I chose 3 different sizes for all the different body parts, which I think worked out fine. It's so oversized. This has 40 centimeters of positive ease unblocked, so like I think like a few stitches won't make that big of a change. And yeah, I think there's nothing else to say about this very beautiful sweater, and I'm pretty sure next time in my next podcast episode I will have it finished. And I have to say, like, I often play my knitting down with like when other people compliment me about it, like especially like non-knitters, because I think like they make it up, like they make such a big thing out of it, and I feel a little bit uncomfortable about it because it feels so unachievable, and I want to make like crafting and knitting more achievable. Like, it's not that crazy thing. Like, you can watch a YouTube video and buy yourself a pair of needles and a ball of yarn and try it out yourself, and then it's just a learning curve you have to master. But like, it's not that crazy, it's not that hard. But I don't at the same time want to make my craft less than it is, and most of the time it's just so I don't even think about like that half of my wardrobe is like self-made, and I wear every day to work a self-made sweater. It's like the normal thing for me, which is obviously a huge privilege that I am able to craft, like able in my hands, able to have the time to do this, etc. But like, I think sweaters like this make me remember how special it is, because when I was finishing the color work, I looked down at the color work, I was like, this is really stunning. And not to like blow my own horn or something, but I think, yeah, if I knit like a stockinette sweater or something, I don't even think about how special it is. And then I do sometimes like projects like this, and I'm like amazed by my own craft. Which is, I think, fair. You can sometimes say this like without sounding like ridiculously arrogant and self-involved. What else? I am also since September knitting on my nephew's Guernsey Genser, but I still haven't gotten the rest of the yarn because it's stuck at a friend's parents' place. So it's hanging around here without no sleeves, and I hope I will achieve that yarn, or not achieve, but get that yarn soon enough so I can finally finish these 2 sleeves. I also decided to postpone my Guernsey Genser, my own one. I went to Berlin and looked at a lot of red yarn and decided to use Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino and Pomegranate, which is super original. I don't know why I looked at 200 different red tones to finally land on the red tone, which was super popular 2 years ago. But yeah, I needed to see some colors in real life, and that one was the one that I decided was perfect. But I think I will order that yarn in autumn, so it's not going to be a Christmas sweater, but I also don't think that pomegranate is that much of a Christmas red as the swatch that I showed you last time, so I don't feel that Christmas pressure anymore, and I decided to go obviously with the yarn that I already have in stash and want to knit with that. Okay, I need to make some space. I also cast on another hat, which is a top-down hat, and it's by LePull, and I think it's called the Jack hat or Jackie hat, and it's fitting as ridiculous as it's looking. I'm knitting this on 5 instead of 6mm needles, but my yarn has the same gauge as hers. It's the Juniper Farm Moon Harriet, Great Harriet, which is 100% alpaca. I think it's maybe even a bulky weight. I think it has like, I think it's in yards, so maybe it's like 120 yards to 100 grams or something. And I thought a top-down hat would be great, so I could knit until I run out of yarn. I don't think this increases on the top work for me, because I can show it to you, and I already increased further than what the pattern says, and this is in 1x1 rib, and you will laugh because it looks so funny. I have to laugh every time I put it on. If I would do thumbnails, this would be amazing. I don't even know if I look more like a condom or a nipple, or I don't know, it looks so funny, or just like a garden gnome. Yeah, and this is blocked, by the way. I mean, from now on, if I would continue, I would just knit straight and then you would fold it over, but I like this isn't working. And what I decided is that I will whip it back and just use this pattern but with less stitches, and also knit this on a tighter gauge, so it would be more windproof. Yeah, funny thing, doesn't work. Maybe it's works for different hat or different yarn or different needle size, but it doesn't work for mine. Okay, I also continued knitting on my pinstripe scarf, which is something I more or less came up with on my trip, because I wanted a scarf which has like the Sophie scarf form, but isn't knit in garter stitch, and has very thin like pinstripe like stripes in it, and I also wanted to knit it in the round and not flat. And I came up with this, which looks kind of ridiculous. Can come closer, so maybe this is the better side, because it has been scrunched up in my bag for a few weeks. And basically I'm now at the decreases, so they like this part is still missing. So I mean this part is still missing, and it has quite a long, very straight part, and I think I would change it in my next version, that you would do slower increases further and knit a smaller part just straight. But in the end it's going to look something like this, and then you will be able to knot it like the same as the Sophie scarf, and it's going to be very cute. It's two different alpaca yarns. I will put it on a screen, I don't remember it, but it's like, I mean, you can see the colors quite well, but like this is again like that kind of like Harriet cinnamon, I think it's called always cinnamon, but it's actually more of like a chestnut color with like beautiful Harriet flags in it, and then just like a grayish beige, which looks more gray in this light, but yeah, really cute. And actually I'm more excited about the navy blue one with the thin red stripe, but for that I need to finish this one first. So these are my accessory knits at the moment. Additionally to that, I also left out a project to show it to you, which will be vacuum sealed after this podcast episode, because this is also a project I took with me to my holidays, or on my holidays. And I first wanted to knit the Samsö sweater by Knitting for Olive. Was getting very frustrated with all the color changes in knitting dropped shoulder construction and all the yarns I had to manage, and decided to knit instead saddle shoulder contiguous sleeve construction. I have no idea if this is the right description. It is basically, I think, the same construction as the Ivy collection of PetiteKnit. So it has like these saddle increments, and then it goes into like the contiguous sleeve kind of raglan construction, which I personally think is a really cool feature. And apparently I wasn't the only one who had the idea to do it striped, because I think Laura from Laura Penrose just used the Ivy tee as well to do a very beautiful stripy version. And yeah, so it's like very leaning to it. So if you feel like doing a fingering weight stripy t-shirt or top, not top, like long sleeve shirt or t-shirt, this is perfect. Like you can use like the PetiteKnit patterns, or as I used, it's called the, I need to open the Ravelry tab here, Sabela by Isabell Kraemer. I don't know, it seems like it's more like Spanish word, and so I would say Sabela, but maybe it's not. And I think it's stripy in the original, just let me check, but it definitely has like just 2 color stripes, and she offers like instructions for a long sleeve and a short sleeve version. And it has like that unfinished neckline, which I really liked. I think the Ivy collection by PetiteKnit is different. It has more nearly a mock neck situation. And yeah, as you can see, I used a lot of different colors to stripe it. I was a bit limited because I needed to use what I have. Otherwise, I think I would have used a lot less yellow and maybe more red and blue or something. Or more red and brown. And I split for sleeves and body during my holiday even. And then I lost motivation, which is fine. It's knit on 3.5mm needles. It's fingering yarn. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colors attached to it, and it's very slow going, and I'm just not feeling it at the moment. And I know myself well enough that I'm actually someone who finishes the knit or frogs them, but usually I will finish them. And so I'm fine with vacuum sealing this and taking it out in spring, because I think these colors also might motivate me more to knit in spring and summer on this. And so yeah, this is going to be the last time you will see it for several months, and we will talk about it in spring back then. I tried it on, it has a nice fit. It has about like 15 to 20 centimeters positive ease, at least the size I chose. I don't know if it is the recommended ease. And yeah, but I have to say the instructions were a bit hard to understand, maybe just because I'm so used to a different writing style, but it was a bit challenging, just the layouting and just a different writing style, but I managed, and it's a nice pattern. It has a great fit, and at least it's something else than PetiteKnit for once in a time. Not that there's anything wrong. I like to knit her patterns, and I am not judging anyone who does that, but I think as podcasters it's often nice to maybe show a bit of variety in pattern designers. And I have to check my list. Guernsey, Genser, green hat, yes. And my last whip is another sweater whip, which I decided to cast on my way to Berlin, because the Harriet sweater got really difficult to carry. I mean, it's a color work sweater, which is huge. So I cast on my Moonset Polo by Ozetta, and it's kind of hard to show. So it's curling in like crazy. It's a polo sweater with drop shoulders, with worsted or worsted, yeah, I guess worsted weight yarn. I think she knits it on 5.5mm needles. I made a gauge swatch and decided to go down to 4.5, and I think I still am a bit, my gauge is still a little bit bigger than hers, which is fine, but I think not by a lot, like half a stitch or something. But yeah, so that was a huge difference in needle size. And yeah, so I finished the back panel, just a regular drop shoulder back panel. You cast on for each shoulder, or no, cast on, you pick up stitches for each shoulder, knit a bit straight, do your neck increases, and then cast on for the V-neck, which will cross over in the front. And yeah, I'm close to finishing the, what is it, my right side. So then the front and the two fronts will be knit together, and then I will continue knitting it, and it's very joyful. I can hold it closer for you to see the color. So it's a very heavy mid-gray. I don't have the label with me at the moment, but it's the Menagerie grass garn in color 3, I think, but it's discontinued. But they have the color in their other yarns as well. So yeah, it's a very hairy yarn, but it's a joyful yarn to knit. I'm also, my row gauge I think is a little bit bigger than hers, which is nice because she puts in the row numbers but also the centimeters you need to reach, which is so nice because then you can like actually see like, do I want to follow the row instructions or do I follow the instructions for the measurements. She also has in the end of the pattern a diagram with all the measurements of the garment, which I find very helpful, and not a lot of designers do that, especially for something which is rather simple fit, I guess, like a dropped shoulders, very basic fit. And yeah, I mean, it's quite a big gauge, so like a 16 stitch gauge, so it flies off the needles. Additionally to that, I need to knit less rows than she recommends. And yeah, I think I will try to finish my Harriet sweater, and this will be my priority next. And I think the moment I finish with my Harriet sweater, I hope to get this to knit in around for the body, and then I will probably cast on my IVT and Ekopunu in that like vibrant rusty color, so I have something, because that one has quite an intricate, complicated yoke construction, I guess, so it needs a lot of concentration. And with this, like being on big needles and just having to knit the body and the sleeves in the round for some time, I think it would be like balance each other out. And obviously I have a lot of like stockinette, no, not stockinette, accessory knits on my needles currently. I had to stop for sneezing because my allergy is going crazy and I need to get outside and get my steps in. So let's just talk shortly about two things. Once I want to mention, my friends and I organized a knit night here in Lübeck where we live, and it's been lovely and it's been such a success. And I've been going to a knit night in Hamburg for some time, but obviously it's a bit of a journey and often I couldn't make it over the last few months. So we were thinking to, like, first of all, meet new people to do here an open knit night, and there are a few knit meetups, kind of. They're not particularly nights because they're not in the evening, so they are not really friendly for people who work, because they are like sometimes even during working hours for normal 9 to 5 office people, and some of them are very closed shop, like you have to register beforehand, you have to pay a fee, etc. And I think that creates a lot of barriers for people, like even like economic barriers, but also like sometimes you want to see spontaneously if you feel like socializing or feel fit enough in this like cold flu season. And so I don't really like that concept. I mean, I do get that, like, for example, if you rent a room, you kind of need to get that money back. But since the knit night I always went to in Hamburg, it's a free and open knit night, because it's like in a kind of like social area of the hostel where you can just sit, and they profit from it because we order like drinks, and you can also get like food at some places, but mostly we just get ourselves like lemonades and sparkling drinks. You can order like also cocktails there if you feel like it. And yeah, so they make some profit from that, but they don't charge us anything for using these rooms. And for us organizing these knit nights, first of all, I knew I didn't want to organize it by myself, because that is a lot of commitment. You have to go there then every time, even if you don't feel like it. And so when my friends were up for it, Pauline from Pauline's Creative Corner and our other friend Michelle, who doesn't have a knitting account or anything, I was like, okay, let's do it. And we asked, it's a cafe, but it's actually, they also do like drinks and have a restaurant part, so it's not just like a coffee place. And they are one of the few places that have longer opening hours, because for us the biggest struggle was when we want to do it in the evening hours during the week, where can you do it that you don't have to, or that you don't feel obliged to order food or alcohol? Because I think with bars, I don't know if as someone who rarely drinks alcohol would feel comfortable there. Also, the lighting is often not that good in bars. And with restaurants, you obviously are there more for eating, so you have to kind of consume a lot more, which is also a barrier for some people maybe who don't want to spend a lot of money on food. So we thought like a kind of like coffee bar restaurant thingy would be fine. So you could just order a lemonade, but you can also get food, because we are doing it now at like 6 p.m. every first Thursday of the month. We need to see how we're gonna do it in January, because the first Thursday of the month I think is the 2nd January or something, or first maybe. So I think we might not do it then, but yeah. And we didn't know how many people would come. I posted it on Instagram, and Pauline also posted it on Instagram, and we were very lucky that the Instagram algorithm really picked it up and shared it to people who don't follow us but still live in our region. And we also printed some posters and flyers and just walked around, asked small shops that kind of were fitting the knitting vibe, I guess, like the cozy crafty vibe, asked other coffee places, put it at the public library, at the university, where else, like obviously yarn stores, like we hang it in a lot of places or left flyers there. And I think if you're able to do something like that, was a great mix, like, because we reached a lot of young people through Instagram, but also some other people who just saw the flyers or the posters, which was nice. So, because obviously Instagram is a barrier in itself as well, not everyone uses it, but still we wanted to try it, to advertise the knit night very low effort. And I mean, since Paulina and I already have a kind of professional knitting Instagram, it just made a lot more sense with that. And yeah, and we reserved a table for 10, and in the end, over 30 people showed up. So that was really, really great. We were amazed by it. Everyone was so friendly. It was very loud and overstimulating at times, because it was like 30 women talking at the same time, which can be a lot. But in the end, it was still very lovely. And we already set the date for our second knit night. And maybe this is all not of interest for you, because most of you, 99% of you, don't probably live in my area, so you can't come to our knit night. But I just wanted to share that story to maybe encourage you to go to your knit night, to your local knit night, or maybe start your local knit night. I mean, I was in a very comfortable position because we did it as the three of us. We thought like there's nothing to lose if nobody is going to show up. Like it's just us three knitting and having a good time and going for dinner. So that, I mean, was low risk for us. And maybe it's a bit different if you organize it on your own and if you are not connected with any other knitters in your area. But yeah, I think if there isn't a knit night in your area that matches your vibe, or you feel comfortable, or works with your working hours or whatever, so maybe that is a good reason to start your own knit night. And yeah, a lot of like young people really welcomed the idea of like just having an open knit night, and I am totally expecting a lot of them to not come back again, because I think it's not for everyone all the time, and not everyone has time every time. So it's going to mix up the crowd anyways, and obviously December is very busy, so we will see how the turn up is in December. But yeah, generally it was just a very pleasant experience, and really nice thing to do for the knitting community. I think I don't have any time left to talk about any YouTube recommendations I have. I will leave them next time in my December podcast, because I am 2 weeks off over Christmas and New Year's, so I will definitely have time to do a podcast episode then, and probably have a lot of knitting finished then as well. Yeah, and I think that's all I wanted to share. And with that, I will finally leave you. Today is Sunday, so I will sprint outside and try to get my steps in before the sun disappears fully, and clean my house for a new work week. And I have no idea until how long it will take me to edit this, but I hope you have a nice day when you watch this, and hope your knitting makes you happy. Let me know what your autumnal winter knitting is currently, like what is on your needles. Are you also knitting something I mentioned? And what are your plans maybe for your Christmas break, if you are off during like Christmas and New Year's? I know not everyone has that privilege to take days off, but like maybe you have some exciting cozy knitting plans as well. And with that, I will see you after Christmas.